Good morning. Today is the Monday, the 16th day of Teves. And we continue in chapter 10 in the Tanya. And the Alter Rebbe in this chapter describes the different levels of a TZADIK, the righteous person. As we mentioned before, that this book of Tanya, Alter Rebbe calls it also the Sefer Shel Beinanim, the book of the intermediate. And as we'll soon get to this, in the chapter 12, what is the intermediate? But the point what the Alter Rebbe brings out is that the intermediate person is not such an easy place to achieve. Because the intermediate person is a person that is in full control of his actions, his speech, and his thoughts. If you look at this person, you would say he is righteous. He's not doing anything bad, and is not even thinking of doing anything bad. And the question is, what is the difference between him and the tzaddik? And this we explained that by the intermediate person, the Beinani, he still has a desire to do bad, meaning that not always is the desire open to him. That depends on the level of the person. There's many different levels in Beinani itself also. Could be sometimes a Beinani, if he's praying and studying Torah and doing only good things, the desire is not going to come up, but it's there. And potentially it's still there. And so his feelings are not changed completely. He still has hiding somewhere a Yetzer Hara that can wake up every day. The tzaddik, on the other hand, the righteous person, he's one who completely eliminated the evil. He does not have the evil Yetzer Hara at all. So if this is the difference between the tzaddik and the Beinani, what we need to understand now is the difference within the tzaddik itself. We mentioned yesterday that there is the complete tzaddik and the incomplete tzaddik. We said that the tzaddik is one who eliminates the evil. He doesn't have even a desire to do something which is against God. He despises anything which is against God. So the Alter Rebbe now is going to focus, we learned yesterday, about what is a real complete tzaddik. Complete tzaddik who is love to Hashem is so full, is so complete, that the love overflowed to the left side of his heart, to the part of the heart that naturally desires material things. He transformed it completely, and to the point that even the Yetzer Hara, even the animal soul of his, also desires only godliness. He doesn't want anything else. On the other hand, the tzaddik she'enei gamo. That's what Alter Rebbe is going to focus now today, to explain what is the incomplete tzaddik. And then we'll see the difference between the incomplete tzaddik and the Beinani. So let's look inside. Says the Alter Rebbe, "V'tzadik she'enei gamu, u'she'enei seinei asitra achra v'tachlis asina." The incomplete tzaddik is he who does not hate the sitra achra, which is the spiritual kalippas, the impurities, with an absolute hatred. He hates it, he hates the evil, but it's not an absolute hatred. Therefore, he also does not find evil, which is physical desires and pleasures, absolutely repugnant. Al kochoch nishar ize shemetz ahava v'tanen glashon. As long as his hatred and abhorrence of evil are not absolute, then he must have retained some vestige of love and pleasure towards it. Something is left, but not to the point that he's desiring it, but it's left, and it'll soon explain why it doesn't affect him. It says, the filthy garments in which the animal soul has been clothed, meaning, as explained above, the evil inclination and the lusting after worldly pleasures have obviously not been completely shed from it. Says, therefore too, the evil of the animal soul has not actually been converted to good, since it still has some hold of the filthy garments. However, except that this vestige of evil is batel, means it's nullified. It is nullified in the good by reason of its minuteness and is accounted as nothing. The evil is so small and it's considered like it's not there. Velochein nikro TZADIK veraloi. Therefore, indeed, he is therefore called the TZADIK veraloi, which means that he's a tzaddik, not only a tzaddik who knows, retains evil, but also a tzaddik whose evil is his. His evil is his. What does it mean? It's subjugated and surrendered to him because it's so overpowered by the good. He says, therefore, then the fact that he retains some evil indicated that his love of God, so this indicates that his love of God is also not complete. For a complete love of God would have converted the evil within him to good. And therefore, he's called an incomplete tzaddik. So this is something we need really to understand. So if he has the evil, what's the difference between him and the Beinoni? So we explained that the evil that there is in the tzaddik is not that really is affecting, that he's feeling it. He doesn't feel it at all. It never comes to fruition. But his disgust and despising of the evil is not a complete despising. We used yesterday the example of, let's say you have some moldy bread. Would anybody ever want to eat moldy bread? Obviously not. It's disgusting. You don't want to have it. The question is this disgust of the moldy bread, is it really absolutely disgusting? So we explained yesterday, we'll argue that it's not absolutely disgusting. Why? Because take this moldy bread and give it to a person who is under the circumstances like in the Holocaust, and there was nothing to eat. Moldy bread would be eaten. Maybe you wouldn't have the enjoyment of it, but it would be eaten. So that is not absolutely disgusting. It is disgusting because you're not going to eat it, you're going to throw it away. But under very severe circumstances, it will be eaten. And then you have things that are completely disgusting. Let's say if it's not bread, if it's forgive the language, if it's feces or something, you're absolutely disgusting. You're not going to touch. You're not, no matter what the circumstances are. So again, so this is the difference of the way, the amount of disgust that a tzaddik has towards the evil, something which is against God. So tzaddik, a complete tzaddik, his love to Hashem is so complete that anything else doesn't exist. It doesn't talk to him at all. But the incomplete tzaddik, the difference really is the complete tzaddik, is completely one with Hashem. And whatever he sees it from God's point of view. And that's the incomplete tzaddik still has something that he wants. What does he want? He wants to be connected with Hashem. But it's his part, it's his thing that he wants to be connected to Hashem. And therefore he will also despise anything. But it is something that he wants to be connected to Hashem, and therefore the things that he despises, which goes against Hashem, you have a reason why they are despised by him, because it goes against what he wants to be connected to Hashem. And now the Alter Rebbe goes to say, within the incomplete tzaddik, there's also tens of thousands of different levels. So let's look inside. Hine, says the Alter Rebbe, madrega zu mischalekas l'rivavos madregas be'inyan miyutara anisha me'achas be'arba yesedos oreim. Now this level, that of the incomplete tzaddik, who knows evil, is subdivided into myriads of levels consisting of varying degrees in the quality of the minute remaining evil, deriving from any one of the four evil elements. This we have mentioned earlier. The four evil elements. There's certain evil that comes from the element of water, which is pleasures. There's evil that comes from the element of fire, like anger, boasting, and so on, arrogance, and the different levels of. So there is obviously it's a very minute point, minute level by the tzaddik she'ein gomel. Like we said, it's not in their conscious level, the evil, but it's there, and there is the tens of thousands of different levels of tzaddikim in the incomplete tzaddik, and that depends in two things. The differences between the different tzaddikim is, number one, is what type of minute evil remains there. Is it the type that belongs more to this level, to the fire, to the water, to the element of air, or the element of earth? And within them also, there's many, many, many different levels. And the second difference is how small it is. So the difference, number one, is what type of evil is still there, and the second difference is between the tens of thousands of tzaddikim, is how much is the good, how much is the bad nullified in the good, just like we have in the laws of the kosher. When you have, let's say, something not kosher, let's say a little milk fell into a pot of chicken soup. So the law is if there is 60 times the chicken soup against the milk, then it's nullified. It's like it's not there. You don't feel the taste. But what if there is 1,000 times of chicken soup? Obviously, the nullification is much, much more. So this is also the difference in the tzaddik. The different levels of the many different tzaddikim is also in how little the subconscious evil is still there. And again, when we're talking about tzaddikim, that they don't have any desires to do evil, but in potential, it's still there. It says, so let's look inside. It says Dal Rebbe. So this is the difference between the different levels in the four different elements, and also the second way is be'inyan bitul abitule b'miyutay. The subdivision also takes into account the degree to which the remaining evil is nullified in the good because of its minuteness. B'shishim al derech mashal, or be'elef, or revava, v'kayetze al derech mashal. Whether it is 60 times as much good, for example, or in 1,000 or 10,000, and so on. Now these various sub-levels in the ranks of incomplete tzaddikim are the levels of the numerous tzaddikim found in all generations, all of whom belong to the category of the incomplete tzaddik. So you have many, many tzaddikim. Obviously, we don't know. We cannot point and say this is this level, this tzaddik is at that level. But there are the different tzaddikim, different levels, many different levels of tzaddikim. Kedeise beGemara, as we find in the Gemara, in the Talmud, the Tamneisar Alfei Tzaddikim Kaimei Kamei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There are 18,000 tzaddikim stand before the Holy One, blessed be He. 18,000 levels of tzaddikim. Thus, though many attain the level of tzaddik, they are, in fact, incomplete tzaddikim. But when we're talking about the complete tzaddik, that's a whole different story. Achal mailas tzaddik gamur. Hu she'omar Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, ro'isi b'nei aliyah ve'himuatim. But concerning the rank of a complete tzaddik, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai's statement applies. I have seen superior men, b'nei aliyah, and they are but few. That's what Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai said. I've seen superior men, but they are but few. And he goes on there saying that if there are 1,000, then me and my son are among them. If there are 100, then me and my son are among them. If there are 2, then there are me and my son. And obviously, you have to point out Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai saying this is not the arrogant statement, God forbid. On the contrary, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai was such a holy man. He was such a godly man that he was one with Hashem. He did not have a Yitzhar at all, and he did not have any feeling of self, anything. He did not have any self-conscious. Well, he obviously we knew what it is, but it was not something that by him talking about himself was not something self and a feeling of boasting at all. He was so completely nullified to Hashem that whatever he said, whatever he felt, whatever he thought, everything was only God. He was completely devoted to Hashem. So he was telling, as we find in the Gemara in different examples also, People they're showing examples on themselves. So here says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Bnei Aliyah, the superior men are very few. Why are they called superior men? Says the Alter Rebbe, Shelochein nikroim Bnei Aliyah. The reason that the complete tzaddikim are called Bnei Aliyah, the men of so Bnei Aliyah, Aliyah means superior. Aliyah also means people of ascent. In the simple understanding of Bnei Aliyah, Aliyah means like a higher level, Oleh, like going up. Simple understanding of what Aliyah means, the people of a higher level that they belong to the spiritual level. Here the Alter Rebbe says something else. There's a different meaning of Bnei Aliyah. Aliyah means also elevating. Why? Because they are elevating and completely transforming the lower level, the unclean thing, into holiness. They're taking their animal soul and they're making the animal soul desire God. They're called Bnei Aliyah. The reason why is that they convert evil and make it to ascend to holiness. As it is similarly written in the introduction to the Zohar. When Rabbi Chia wished to ascend to the Eichel, the heavenly shrine of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Shoma Kola Nofig V'Oma. He heard a voice come out and say, Man min choin, dichashoicha mehapchan linehoira, v'tayam min merirun lemiska, ad lo yesum hacha v'chulu. He says, whichever of you before coming here have converted the darkness of the world to light, holiness, and have transformed the bitter taste of the animal soul and evil inclination to sweetness, to holiness, only these may enter. So this is talking to whom? Who was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai saying this to? To those tzaddikim. So obviously, not all of the tzaddikim are in that level. The level to completely transform the negativity, the animal soul, the bitter into sweet, the dark into light. Only tzaddik gomor. Only a complete tzaddik is one who completely transformed it. So this is the end of today's shir, and the question is, why do we need to know this? If this is even the tzaddikim of the, you imagine the tzaddikim of the Mishnah, of the Talmud. By the way, it says not a single anyone who is mentioned in the Talmud. The name is mentioned in the Talmud was so holy that he was able to resurrect a dead person. And yet, we're talking about such great tzaddikim. And they themselves do not reach the level of entering of the complete tzaddik. So why do we need to know all of this? Obviously, I don't know about you, I know myself. We're not in that level. Far, far from it. So the answer is number one, to understand everything, understand what we are. We need to really understand everything. To know what is a tzaddik, what is a real tzaddik, and not to fool ourselves, because if you don't learn this, you can fool yourself as thinking, okay, a week has passed by, I've done only good things. Oh, I'm complete. I'm a tzaddik. But also more than that, I'll say 3 points. Number one is this: not to fool yourself, to be able to know who you are. Perhaps number two, is to realize that there are true tzaddikim. There are those tzaddikim that are really, really complete, one with Hashem. And knowing that, every generation there is a Moshe Rabbeinu of the Dor, Moshe Rabbeinu of the generation that is a complete tzaddik, and enables to connect you to Hashem through, as it's been learned in chapter 2, by connecting to the tzaddikim, we're able to connect to God. And number 3, really we know this. It is because really in a very small way, each and every one of us has a tiny, tiny little bit of tzaddik in us. You can have sometimes a person, where does it come from? And a person completely, without any logic, says, I'm not going to do it. This is against Hashem. You give a person an option to do something which is totally repugnant. Tell a person, on Yom Kippur, take a piece of pork and eat it on Yom Kippur. It's, you don't have to explain why. It's like, no, it's impossible. So each and every one of us has a little bit. And knowing that we do have a deep, deep, deep inside, because the neshama and the essence of the soul is one with Hashem, that itself will give us also the ability, the strength, that when it comes a challenge in our life, we're able to overcome the challenge. Telling ourselves that really deep inside, we are a Yid, we are a Jew, and we have this neshama, and we're able to overcome. And together with this, we do it through the connection to the tzaddik. Ultimately, that will be revealed in the coming of Mashiach, when we'll see the revelation of the tzaddik in us will come out and shine. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you, Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow morning.